Kenyatta was elected to the Detroit Council in November 2005. He formerly served as Wayne County Commissioner of 7th District from 2003 to 2005. During the second commission term, Mr. Kenyatta stood as chair of the Committee on Health and Human Services, vice chair of the Committee on Economic Development, as well as serving the Committee on Ways and Means. Mr. Kenyatta also served on the following committees: Subcommittee on Lead Poisoning, Juvenile Detention Advisory Board, Technology, Rules, Charter Revisions, and Small and Minority Businesses. He is the former Vice President of the Detroit Board of Education and served on the board from November 1992 until October 1993. During his 5 years on the Board of Education, Kwame Kenyatta provided and promoted innovative ideas and programs helping to lay the foundation for new and progressive learning styles in the Detroit public school system. Commissioner Kenyatta is married and has 2 children. His daughter graduated from Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High School, and his son graduated from Cass Technical High School. Both are currently attending college. Let's welcome Mr. Kenyatta and hear what he has to say for us, okay?
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I guess it's afternoon. Let me first thank, and I guess I came in at the right spirited time. First of all, I give praise to Almighty God. I am thankful, as I know you are, thankful for God, for it was not the alarm clock that woke us up this morning. But indeed, it was the hand of God that touched our hearts, our spirits, and our minds, that brought the family from far and distant places. I saw Georgia. I don't know if there are any Alabama folks in the house other than myself, but other places as well. And we ask that Almighty God take you back safely. In our tradition, we always ask permission from our elders to begin. That's part of what we talk about today, as I was asked to come and speak for an hour or two. No, for a few minutes, about the importance of family. But before we begin, as part of our tradition as a people, and I'm more from the understanding of our heritage and culture, the common denominator. No matter what else is involved, there's a common denominator, and from that African-centered common denominator, we always ask permission from our elders to begin. So I'm a few days older than 50 this year, and if you're a few days older than that, then you may give me permission to begin. May I speak? Thank you. We always acknowledge the elders. That's part of our family tradition that we've kind of gotten away from. That we say anything, do anything, go any place, and just kind of go about our way, irregardless and disrespectful of the elders of the family, and not understanding it is because of them that we are who we are. And so as we look at it, and Sister asked me to come, and I guess she knew what she was doing. I take responsibility for any and everything that I say. Don't blame her, because sometimes I don't know what I'm going to say. But I ask that God direct the words, and my wife says sometimes whatever comes up, come out. And all the times that's not good. But whenever we're with family, it is good. I just had a family reunion, my first family reunion, for the first time in Alabama, and got to see and know members of the family that I never knew. And of course, they never knew me or my children. And so it's an important thing to come together and to fellowship with each other and to talk to each other, to network, to particularly talk to the elders of the family, because they have a story. They have a book in them. And we need to write that family book so that we can pass it down to the others who are coming on, that they understand that they are connected. They're not just here. They're connected to something and someone. As we look at the society that we are in today, and we wonder what is going on with the insanity, the craziness that is taking place, that is not who we are, nor is it where we came from. Oftentimes, if you see a community, a neighborhood, a nation that is out of control, it is because there has been a destabilization of the family on some level or another. Because the ruins of a nation begin in the homes of its people. If that is the case, the building of a nation also began in the homes of its people. Where we come from, family was everything. Family was the connecting. People didn't know you, they knew your family. Who your folks? Who you belong to? You so-and-so boy? You so-and-so gal? I know y'all don't know nothing about that kind of talk. Who your mother? And mother is not just something that Tyler Perry brought back to the stage. Mother has always been a part of who we are, and Big Mama and Papa and those kind of folks. And it is because of that relationship when you came in the house from school that you sat down at the table. You didn't just run out and play. You had some things to do. But you sat at the table because the kitchen table was the centering piece of the family. It is where you learned what was going on with your children. We don't know what's going on with our children today. Some of them could be involved in drugs, sex, crime, anything. We don't look at them. We don't look at their spirit. I remember the time when Big Mama, Mud Dear, Papa, and them would be able to tell who walked in the house. Buddy, is that you? How did she know that was me? Because she was in tune to your steps. She produced you, and she knew your heartbeat. She could look at you and tell when you were lying. In fact, she would tell you, don't even fix your mouth to tell that lie. That was part of the family connection, that you would sit down at this table here in this round for a purpose. See, we live in a society that has taught us the abnorm and not the norm, have taught us away from ourselves. We sit one behind the other's back, and we stab each other behind the other's back. But this round here, you can't, everything is right in front of your face. And you got to talk to each other. So we would be able to look. And that dinner, that Sunday dinner that was prepared with love, you know, Soul Food, the movie Soul Food kind of brought that home. But that Sunday dinner, I remember the time when my mother would come in from Birmingham working in somebody's kitchen. I don't know where, never met the folks, but she worked and brought some stuff home. I remember being there in the house, and I'm looking, trying to find something to eat. I didn't see nothing to eat. But she would come home, and she would get to singing the Lord's Prayer and all kinds of stuff. And then all of a sudden, I said, now I want to see this. Because I didn't see anything. So what is she going to fix there? So she would get to singing, and I would get to smelling, and I peep around the corner, and there was some biscuits. I don't know where they came from. There were some flapjacks. Y'all don't know nothing about that. There were syrup made out of sugar and water. Help me, somebody. Huh? And so she made a way out of no way, and she put something on the table. But to add insult to injury, she would begin to fix a plate, put some aluminum foil. I said, why is she doing that? And then she would say, take this down to the woods.
That's right. My mama.
Take it down to the woods. I knew Michael them, and I'm getting mad. What she mean? It was about 15 of them. It was only 2 or 3 of us. And but on her way home, she stopped by Mrs. Wood's house. And she saw that Mrs. Wood didn't have anything. We didn't have anything either. But they had even less than what we had. And so she fixed the plate, and before I could eat, I had to take it down the street so they could eat. That was my first lesson in understanding how to serve people and to give unto others what you have, even though you don't have anything, because they have less than you. I was taught that in the home. See, the home is the first school, and we have gotten away from that. We send our children away, and they come back, and we say, who are you? Because you're definitely not the one that left here. Your hat turned around, your pants hanging down, your dress pulled up. Now, the young folks say I was doing all right until I got there. But what I'm saying is that there was a tradition in the family, and you had to work your way up the food chain. When they would put, there's a commercial out now about don't take the drumstick. Y'all seen that with young folks? Well, I wanted the breast, but I never got it until I got older. Then when I got older, I stuck to the wing, which is what I always got. But there was pecking order. You didn't work. You didn't go out and do anything. So Papa and Big Mama, they got what they wanted, and you got you got what was left. And there was a lesson there. When you get to where they are and you begin to do your chores and take care of your business, then you get what you want as well. What I'm talking about, hopefully I'm not missing anybody. I know I'm not missing the elders, but the young folks. That family tradition is more than just getting up in the morning and just, somebody who you know. There's a reason that there's an uncle there and an aunt there and a big mama and a papa and cousins and all of that. Because of that connection, when we look at what happened to us as a people, and I know oftentimes we don't want to go back, but there in Ghana is what they call the Sankofa bird. The Sankofa bird, when you see that bird, his neck is turned behind him and he has a seed in his mouth and is stepping forward. What he's doing is looking back, stepping forward. When you drive, you get ready to go back down south or further north or west or wherever you go, you're on the road. And as you're driving forward, every now and then you gauge in your rearview mirror. You gauge in your side mirror in order to see what's coming up behind you and what it is that you pass. You don't stay there, but you kind of gauge there every now and then as you move forward. The same thing with our history. You have to look back in order to understand where you are and where you're going. There were two ships in the road. One ship was lost. And the smaller ship said to the larger ship, the captain said, "Ahoy there." The captain said, "Ahoy." He said, "I'm lost. Where am I?" He said, "Well, where you come from?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "Well, where you going?" He said, "I don't know that either." He said, "Well, it don't matter where you are. Because if you don't know where you come from and you don't know where you're going, then where you are will suit you just fine." We have to know who we are. What are the connections? It's important during this family reunion, and I don't know if this is the last day or not, but hopefully at some point in time the cameras was going, the VCRs, the video camera was going, and you sat down and you talked to folks in the family to hear their story. Who are you? What have you done? What have you seen? Tell me about what it is that I'm going to run into. Now, as a young person, you don't want to hear that. As a young person, I didn't want to hear that. My mother used to tell me all the time, one day, boy, you're going to wish that you were still young. How many times have I wished that? One day, you're going to wish that you had listened to me. And so your elders, your parents, and your grandparents are telling you that now. I know where you have been. Oh, you don't know old folks, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what I'm going through and where I've been. Now, they got 50 years, some 100 years, collectively 1,000 years over you. You still wet behind the ears, still just trying to find yourself. It's important that we connect the family relationship. Just before I close up, because I'm not going to take too much time. She didn't give me any time, and I'm not going to take those 2 or 3 hours. But it's important to understand that connection. When we came here, check that, when we were brought here, taken and snatched away from the bosom of our mother, from the womb of our mother, we came from a family relationship. Boys were taught how to be men in that family relationship. Huh? You didn't just grow up, get a little hair on your chest, a little hair on your face, and get some growth elsewhere, and then all of a sudden thought you were a man. No, you were taught what malehood is, what boyhood is, and then what manhood is. And based upon that teaching, you then understood what your role was. That you're not a stud. God didn't make you just to go and impregnate anything and anybody that's out there, to be irresponsible, to walk down and around the street with your behind showing. God didn't create you like that. Your family didn't raise you like that. There, we came from a connection where the young boys were taken to be with other young boys, and then they were socialized. They were taught how to hunt. They were taught how to date. They were taught how to speak. They were taught how to relate. They were taught how to become a husband. You don't just grow up and become a husband. Okay, now, I'm a husband now. No. There was some teaching that went on. How to be a father. Same thing with young girls. They were taught by the women in the family. And as a result of that, you had stable family relationship. We were snatched away from that. The man was taken over here. The woman was taken over there. The children were taken there. The man was then trained to be a stud. He was trained into force raping his woman, his children, his family, and then he was not even allowed to know what it was and who it was that he had produced. Now fast forward hundreds of years later, we find the same scenario in the community. But irregardless of that, the family found a secret way to still maintain. That's why you're in this room today. That's why the Woolfolk, the Stanley, the Marshall, the Jarretts, the Dow, that's why you're in this room today, because you survived that. Yes, we came together. We came out of that forced enslaved situation that nobody could survive. 400 years of being beaten, raped, robbed, stripped of your culture, stripped of your mind, stripped of your spirit, stripped of your name. But God locked something in you that nobody could strip of from you. That spirit, that code, no matter what they did, we still found a way. If you were in the house and you were part of the house, relationship, the house slave, you still found a board in the floor where you could drop some bread underneath the floor to those in the field so that they could eat. Huh? You still was able to communicate. As we saw the dance, that was a form of communication. Many of the spirituals that we sing came out of that relationship, still away. Huh? Still away. Still away to Jesus. Huh? There was a ship called the Good Ship Jesus by Sir John Hawkins. So when the slaves were talking about still away, they wasn't just talking about going to heaven. They were talking about getting away from hell. Getting away from that. Wade in the water. Because if you get in the water, the dogs that are hunting you, they can't find the scent that when you come out on the other side, you can get on about your business. That was part of the spiritual. There's a meeting tonight. They wasn't just talking about a meeting. They were talking about some planning to get away. So we kept that connection. We still were able to see each other. Though that baby had been pulled away from the womb of the mother, as she went about the plantation, she would look into the eyes of the children to try to identify that child whose eyes she looked into at birth to see if that was her child. Those connections that we still lay our foundation on today in the midst of the drive-bys. I remember when a drive-by was somebody driving by your house saying, hey. Now a drive-by means you take for cover. That there's something death and something destructive going on. If we are to maintain family, we must go back to the old way. Our young folks don't know the old way. We got to get back to the kitchen table. We got to get back to the homework. We got to get back to some form of respect. I thought that children were to be seen and not heard when I came up. Because when grown folks was talking, you didn't do what? No, you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You didn't break into the conversation with your opinion. You didn't do that. There was a thing called a backhand. And if Big Mama chewed snuff, you had to get out of the line of fire. You had to back up. You didn't look down grown folks' throats.
That's right.
And they talked to you about that. But see, in the midst of that, look what you have at the table today. In the midst of that, I know, and we were talking about down at the family reunion about child abuse. I didn't know what protective service was. In fact, I didn't know what the police was, but had I known, I may have, dropped a dime here and there. Because there was a thing called a switch. Young folks, y'all know about a switch? Young folks, y'all know, they don't know nothing about a switch. They think that's a movie. A switch was a powerful thing. It helped you switch your behavior from that negative behavior to that positive behavior. And they had a technique about that switch. They didn't just get one of them. They get several of them, and they braided them up. And sometimes they would soak them. See, that's a long-term switch there. That means that you kind of keep getting in trouble. So they wanted to have that one around. But the insult to injury is that you had to go get the switch. And if you came back with the wrong kind of switch, oh my God. We don't know what child abuse is today. They had a thing that when they hit you, it would wrap around and pick the blood out of you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not trying to glorify that because people do say that that was serious child abuse. But I'm here today as a result of some of that child abuse. I've never been in jail for anything other than social activities in terms of protesting against that which was unjust.
That's right.
Never for stealing anything, never for anything of that nature. I'm here as a result, never been a part of any drugs or shooting and killing and crime and all of that. I can still remember, my ears still aching. I don't know if that's why I wear these things or not, but I remember my head being down between my mother's leg and my behind exposed, and it was naked. And she wore me out. It was a result of that kind of tough love that I didn't hang out on the corner, that I didn't shoot crap and drugs and do any drive-bys. I'm not saying that we have to, and I know young folks say, I know you're not telling them to go back to that. No, I'm not necessarily saying that, but I'm saying that the family has to take control of what's yours.
That's right.
Your children don't belong to the state, they belong to you. Your family belongs to you. If you call the police down south where we come from, the police will say, you who? And what's happening to you? Okay, goodbye. Because they didn't get involved in that. That was family taking care of family business. But that family, there's a thing called the extended family. If I did something down the street and Mr. Smith saw me, he had my mother's number. We don't even know each other's neighbors now, so we can't even call them. We can't email them, call them, do nothing because we don't know them. We see them when they come and we see them when we go. But it wasn't like that before. That by the time I got home, oh, I heard you've been managed. I'm like, what is that? Managed? Oh, you fast, huh? Young sister, you fast. And as a result of them dropping a dime on me, that's what you would call it, snitching on you. They didn't care nothing about what you thought about them snitching on you. They told, and quite frankly, some of them would tear you up before you got home. And then when you got home, you got it some more. That was just simply, maybe I didn't understand it because I wanted to run away and do all of that stuff. I felt I was just, whatever. But that was serious love. That was serious planning. There's not a time that I don't hear my mother's voice. If I go in the restroom, if I happen to forget and I'm on my way out, I hear her saying, wash your hands. That's upbringing. We don't teach anymore. Our children, we don't raise them up. That is, we plan for them. We teach them how to dress, brush your teeth, make up your bed. Make up your bed?
That's right.
Yeah, make up your bed.
That's right.
And make it up right.
That's right.
Make it up right. I mean, you think some of us was in the Army. Never seen a day in the Army, but you could drop a nickel on that bed and it'll bounce right back up because she taught you how to make that bed up, how to sweep up the floor. Young folks don't even know how to sweep this day. Oh, no. I had to come behind some of them and sweep up. Look at all this dust here. Sweep the floor, mop. These are things we had to work. But it made us. I own a business today, and I go in there. I was in there last night till 1 o'clock, mopping, sweeping, because I was taught how to do that if you're going to have anything. You leave your environment better than you found it, more better.
That's right.
Finally, let me just say one other thing, and I'm through. Keeping our community clean is very important, young people. Again, even just a few minutes ago, a few days ago, I was down south, and I would see the elderly people, usually an elderly woman with an apron on, because she's cooked breakfast that morning when she got up. And now she's out sweeping. There's no grass there. She's sweeping the dirt. And you say in your mind, what is she doing sweeping the dirt? Is she crazy? Loose gravel on the ground. She's keeping the dirt clean because that's hers. That's her little piece of earth. And she has pride in it, so she keeps it clean. We throw our McDonald's bags out the window, Burger King out the window. Where? In our community. And so other folks come in, they see it, they say, oh, they don't care about where they live. I think I'll dump on them too.
That's right.
I think I'll bring my trash and dump it in their community as well. This is the way they keep it. This is the way they keep themselves. This is the way they live. So why don't I help them live that way? As we reconnect ourselves, our minds, and our spirit, we are great people. We come from a great people. And these doctors and lawyers, architects and basketball and football players and all the rest that I see in the room today, you will go much further in life if you just take a moment. I can say that now. And listen to the people who are talking to you. Take a moment and listen to the people who are taking care of you, who are raising you. It may not sound like good advice now, but take it anyway. Listen to it anyway. I guarantee you at some point in time in your life, it will come back and you will be able to take it off of the shelf and use it. Thank you very much.